4,500 years ago, someone built something. And we have spent the 4,500 years since then arguing about how 2.3 million blocks of stone, some as heavy as a truck, stacked into the tallest structure on Earth by hand. This is the Great Pyramid of Giza, the only ancient wonder still standing, and the engineering puzzle nobody has fully solved. Around 2560 BCE, the pharaoh Khufu decided he needed a tomb. Not just any tomb, the tomb. His chief architect, a guy named Hemiunu, got handed a task nobody had ever attempted at this scale. The pyramid had to rise 481 feet into the sky, built from limestone and granite, with a perfectly square base accurate to within a few centimeters. And it had to be done within Khufu's 27-year reign. Do the math on that. 2.3 million blocks. 27 years. That's one block placed. Every 2 to 3 minutes. Every day. For nearly 3 decades. Before you can place a block, you need to cut one. Most of the pyramid's core is limestone, quarried right there on the Giza Plateau. Fine, easy enough. But the interior chambers? Those needed granite, hauled from Aswan, 500 miles to the south. Now here's the fun part. They cut granite with copper chisels. Copper, which is not exactly the hardest metal you can name. So how on earth did that work? Sand. They literally used sand as sandpaper. The copper just guided it. And for splitting big blocks, wooden wedges soaked in water. The wood expanded as it absorbed the water and cracked the rock along a controlled line. Slow, brutal, and it somehow worked. Getting a block out of a quarry is problem 1. Moving it 500 miles is problem 2. The Egyptians solved problem 2 using the Nile. Blocks went onto barges, floated downstream, along a branch of the river that doesn't even exist anymore, but ran much closer to the pyramid site back then. Then on land, wooden sledges. And here's the clever bit. Workers poured water onto the sand in front of the sledge. That's it. That's the whole trick. Wet sand reduced friction by about half. We know this because an ancient tomb painting literally shows a guy doing it. 4,000 years ago, they figured out a physics principle. We only confirmed with modern equations. Okay, so they cut the blocks. They moved the blocks. Now here's the question nobody has a clean answer to. How did they get the blocks up? We're talking 60-ton granite slabs, over 400 feet in the air, with no cranes, no iron tools, no pulleys strong enough to handle that load. Researchers have been arguing about this for decades. And right now, there are 3 main theories. None of them are perfect. All of them are fascinating. Theory 1. The external ramp. This is the one they teach in school. A long, sloped ramp of mud brick and packed earth, winding up the outside of the pyramid as it grew. Blocks hauled up on sledges. Simple, logical. And it uses techniques we know the Egyptians had. So what's the problem? The math. To keep a slope gentle enough to drag 60-ton blocks up, a ramp reaching the pyramid's summit would need to be over a mile long, and would have required more material to build than the pyramid itself. So the most popular theory in textbooks is also, mathematically, a bit of a disaster. Theory 2. And this one is genuinely wild. French architect Jean-Pierre proposed in the early 2000s that the ramp was never on the outside of the pyramid. It was built into it. A spiral ramp hidden inside the pyramid's body, winding up behind the outer casing stones like a corkscrew. He used 3D modeling to show this could explain weird internal features, including a mysterious notch at one corner that some think was used as a counterweight station. Here's the catch, though. There's no physical proof, because if the ramp existed, it's sealed inside the finished structure. We literally cannot check without taking the pyramid apart, which nobody is doing. And then 2026 happened. 2 peer-reviewed papers, same week. Both completely disrupted what we thought we knew. Paper 1 published in Nature. The Grand Gallery inside the pyramid, not a ceremonial corridor. A gravity-powered lifting machine. Heavy stone counterweights slid down these internal tracks, and the force of that descent hauled 60-ton granite blocks up to the king's chamber. The Egyptians basically built an internal crane and then hid it inside the pyramid when they were done. Paper 2, published the same week in a sister journal. Using AI computational modeling, the researcher showed that 4 spiral ramps built simultaneously along the pyramid's outer edges could move 1 limestone block every 2 to 3 minutes, exactly matching the build rate needed to finish on time. 2 papers, 2 problems solved, 1 week. Okay, so we've talked about how they might have moved the blocks. But here's the thing that actually keeps historians up at night. It's not that they moved them. It's how precisely they moved them. The base of this pyramid is level, to within 2 centimeters, across 230 meters. Some modern buildings built with laser levels can't do that. The joints between blocks are so tight, you cannot fit a sheet of paper between them. And the 4 sides are aligned to true north, with an error of less than 1/10 of 1 degree. No GPS, no digital surveying, no calculators. Just people with an understanding of geometry that has absolutely no right to exist 4,500 years ago. And here's a 2026 finding that almost nobody is talking about. A study in Scientific Reports found that the pyramid's natural vibration frequency is completely mismatched from the ground it sits on. In earthquake science, that's normally catastrophic. A building vibrating out of sync with its foundation can tear itself apart. But here, it works the other way. The mismatch acts as an accidental seismic shield. Earthquake shocks hit the base and just scatter. They didn't plan it. They didn't know the physics. They were just trying to build a tomb and accidentally created one of history's first earthquake-resistant structures. Okay, so that's the construction side. How they might have built it. But here's where it gets genuinely strange. Because even if we solved every single construction question tomorrow, there are things about this pyramid that no theory explains. Things that just don't fit. And when you line them all up, you start to wonder whether we actually understand what these people were building at all. The pyramid's 4 sides are aligned to true north, south, east, and west, with an error of less than 1/10 of 1 degree. Let me put that in context. Many modern buildings built with GPS and laser surveying don't hit that level of alignment. A peer-reviewed study in 2017 confirmed the error is less than 4 arc minutes. That's less than 1/15 of a degree. The leading theory is a vertical stick and shadow tracking on the equinox, which is brilliant in its simplicity. But here's the thing. No surveying tool has ever been found. No alignment instrument. No instructions. No record of the method. They just did it perfectly. In the center of the pyramid, inside the king's chamber, there's a sarcophagus, a big red granite one, undecorated, roughly finished, lid missing. And inside, nothing. No mummy, no treasure, no name on the wall, nothing. Now here's the detail that gets me. The sarcophagus is too wide to fit through the entrance corridor, which means they put it in the chamber before they finished the pyramid. They built the entire thing around this coffin, and then apparently never used it. Ancient historian Diodorus Siculus recorded legends that Khufu was buried somewhere else entirely, and with a hidden void still unexplored above the Grand Gallery. The most exciting possibility is that the actual burial chamber hasn't been found yet. In 2017, scientists used cosmic ray muon radiography to scan the pyramid. Same technology used to look inside volcanoes. No drilling, no touching, just scanning. And they found something. A void, at least 40 meters long, sitting just above the Grand Gallery, the size of a passenger aircraft. Nobody knew it was there. Nobody can get to it. And nobody knows what's inside it. Then, in 2023, confirmed by Egypt's own Supreme Council of Antiquities, a second hidden space, 9 meters long, sealed, directly above the main entrance, found using a robotic endoscope through a tiny gap in the outer stone. The gabled ceiling suggests it was built to redistribute weight, but that's a guess, because neither space has been opened. Both are still sealed. Inside a structure we are not legally allowed to drill into, and they're just waiting. There are 4 narrow shafts cut through the pyramid at precise angles, one from each side of the king's chamber, one from each side of the queen's chamber. For years, people called them air shafts, until someone pointed out that dead pharaohs don't need fresh air. The mainstream theory now is that these are soul roads, symbolic paths for the pharaoh's spirit to travel after death. And here's where it gets interesting. The southern shaft of the king's chamber is aimed directly at Orion's belt, the constellation the Egyptians linked to Osiris, god of the afterlife. The northern shaft points at Thuban, the North Pole star at the time the pyramid was built. The star the Egyptians believed never moved, immortal. These angles were cut deliberately by people who understood exactly where specific stars were in the sky 4,500 years ago. And finally, the numbers. Take the pyramid's base perimeter, divide it by twice the height, you get pi, accurate to within 0.04%. Take the slant height, divide by half the base, you get the golden ratio, same accuracy. Now, before you spiral into full conspiracy mode, here's the honest answer. The Egyptians almost certainly did not know pi or the golden ratio as abstract concepts. What they used were whole number slope ratios called seconds. And when you use those specific ratios, you accidentally approximate pi and the golden ratio with extraordinary precision. So is this grand mathematical design, or the most spectacular accidental coincidence in architectural history? Mathematicians are still arguing about it. And the pyramid gives absolutely nothing away. Here's the honest answer after all of that. We don't know. Ramps, spirals, counterweights. Every theory explains some evidence and struggles with the rest. But here's what we do know. The workers weren't slaves. Archaeological evidence shows skilled, paid laborers living in villages nearby, with bakeries, breweries, and organize medical care. These were people, with lives, with skills, with apparently very good bread. And whatever they did it without iron tools, without the wheel for heavy loads, and without leaving a single instruction manual behind. The Great Pyramid has been standing for 4,500 years. It survived earthquakes, looters, empires rising and falling around it. It outlasted every civilization that tried to match it. But not every ancient structure was that lucky. Some of history's most ambitious buildings didn't survive their own design. They cracked, bent, and became monuments to what happens when you get it wrong. Next time on Cracks in History, a structure so confidently built that its own builders had to change the design before they even finished it. Subscribe if you want to see it, because that crack is coming next.